What up, y'all? This is Broadway, and I know there is a stigma around being a musician that you have to struggle and you have to have like 20 jobs to be able to make it work. But in the course of this podcast, I have talked to guests who have been able to get big checks in some cases from their music, and some who have been able to fund trips and fund other projects with their music. So in this video, we're going to talk about 5 ways. You're going to hear 5 ways to make money off of your music. And some of these were a surprise to me. I didn't even know that these were a possibility. Some of the things, even if I did know it was a possibility, I didn't know the magnitude or the amount of money that you can make doing these things. So it was news to me. So maybe it'll be news to you as well. Enjoy.
I got one placement a couple years ago. I wasn't even doing anything. My music was just up on a platform called SongTrader. Mm-hmm. And they reached out to me. They were like, hey, someone wants to use your song Home. And I'm like, okay, great. That's cool. And then months went by, nothing happened. And then all of a sudden I had like $12,000 in my like SongTrader account. And then they were like, cool, so we'll give you this, but we also want you to do a Christmas version of the song. So will you re-record it? And they gave me more money. And I was like, this is amazing. And then they renewed it the next year and then gave me all that money again. So it's just like, okay, this is awesome. Like it's not a hobby anymore. Like I'm actually making enough money to like say that I'm doing this.
Looking to, get into sync. Where do I start?
So you want to have your ducks in a row, I like to say, before you kind of dive in, just because you do only get, you don't get one shot. You get more than that, but it's like, am I turning into Eminem right now? You only get one shot. No, you don't want to like start off on the wrong foot is what I'm saying. Like you don't want to send the wrong things, the wrong type of music. You don't want to like send music that's not to brief. Like if someone's asking for specific music, you never want to send a song just because it may work. No, if they're asking for something specific, there's a reason. If people start sending in stuff and they're not even reading the brief, like we can tell, and we're just like, oh my God, they're on our strike 1 list. They're going to be on strike 2 if they keep doing this. Always have an instrumental. You want to have that. You want to have AIF format, because the reason is because it's there's this thing called metadata, which is the information within the song file. And the only formats that hold metadata are AIFs and MP3s, but you don't ever want to send just an MP3. You always want to send a high res, unless someone asks specifically for like an MP3 or a WAV. Always send an AIF.
We're always funding creative endeavors through those links. Or if we're like looking to get a new piece of gear, or we have a show coming up in Denver. So like right now we're funding our trip to get out there. That's the like main way that we're able to do all of these things. Like they funded our Sundance trip. So it's just like, they're so kind and supportive of us.
All right. So I've got my ducks in a row, and I want to start the Twitch streaming thing. How does the money work? How do you kind of start getting paid?
So you as a streamer, you can set, there's 3 different tiers of subscriptions. One of them's $6, one of them's $10, one of them's $25. Okay. You as each streamer, you determine what values come with each one of those subscription tiers. So if someone subscribes like tier 3, which is the $25, you can say, oh, I'm gonna send you a personalized mix CD. That's a lot. Don't do that. We did that before.
Yes, it is a lot.
But it's really just figuring out, it's monetizing what is unique to you. And so the more unique your incentives are for bits. So for example, in one of our movies, Courtney has this really manic laughter. And so we put that as one of our sound alerts behind the bits. And that last week netted us like over $200 at $4 sound alert.
Her laugh netted you over $200.
Yes.
Explain that again.
Okay. I don't want to come out and be like, oh, if you do these things, then you're going to get these things.
Sure.
We've spent a long time building our community and having really weird quirks to our channel. And it's just finding ways to try to monetize that. So an easy way is when you are, or when someone's able to pay you, excuse me, you will have a set of emotes, which is kind of like an emoticon on your iPhone or like whatever phone, but you can make them your own. And so that's the easiest way that Twitch already gives you a way to incentivize people. So tier 1, you get 5, or tier 2, you get 10. So they have different amounts. So then people say, oh my gosh, I really like the one of Broadway's Keys. It's really nice. And that's a tier 2. I'm going to spend the $10 so that I can use that. So that is one way in which you can do it. And
then they can use that emote in other channels. So then if somebody else sees that, that's marketing for you.
we do use that monetization to then funnel them to like a Patreon. We do that too.
Okay.
Where we do all of our behind the scenes of film and music. So they see the beginning of it or they see the finished project. We'll play some of our films while we take a quick break. And then we're like, all right, and if you want the podcast of what it took to make this film, go over to our Patreon. And then so now we have people who join over there who get all of the nitty gritty. We just released a script. We'll release behind the scenes photos of stuff. So it's just another, and like I said, people love that stuff. They love watching someone create something.
Something that's so small but is so powerful is that before our shows, we'll drop our set list to our Patreon subscribers. And it doesn't matter if they're going to be there or not. They're like eating it up because they know this information while nobody else does. And it's like something so small for us that we're like, what do you mean that you want to see my set list? That's, but like, it's stuff like that. And then like, Courtney shared her acting script from Mommy Issues, our latest film. And that was a really big deal. Wow. And just little stuff here and there of like doing a talk back of like what the filming process was like, what the lighting process was like, sharing the stuff that we've already made, like lighting plans for the film, shot lists for the film, our playlist that we were listening to that we sent to the actors and the crew, like things like that.
You talked about also like, Patreon, and I think I saw like you had some links to like merch and things like that on YouTube as well. Like talk about, I guess, kind of that process and then how is that going?
Yeah, since YouTube is kind of my main thing, Patreon is also super important. And if you watch YouTubers, you probably know what Patreon is, or podcasters, maybe they also have Patreons a lot. Because on YouTube, the covers are recognized as copyrighted content and they're copyright claimed. So it's really nice because I don't have to get a special license to put the cover on YouTube, but it means that YouTube's automatic system will automatically detect the copyrighted content and then revenue share an undisclosed percentage with the original rights holders. So you don't make as much as you would as if it were an original song that's not copyright claimed. And you don't make as much as you would as if it were a longer video where you can put ads in the middle. Because the ads on YouTube are how you make the money. And you can't put ads in a shorter video. And even if I could, I would never put an ad in the middle of a song. Like that's horrifying. So Patreon is a super important platform for me because of that, because I don't really make that much from those YouTube ads, just because of the type of the content that I make. And Patreon changed my life, honestly. Like it made it so much more stable for me. And it's a concentration of like the most dedicated fans and the best people. And it's a little community that I really love. So it's been great for me.
Working with the tourism centers, I've learned a lot about like grant money and things like that and how people can invest in me through those ways. And I'm actually able to like get paid and do things like a real high functioning artist might be doing it. You know what I'm saying? So it's little things you learn when you're engaging with people in person. Yeah.
That's interesting too, that you say that in terms of grant money. That's something I hadn't even thought of either. Like
I didn't either.
As an avenue that might be there for artists to take advantage of. Yeah.
A lot of people want to invest in what you do, especially if it's not for, I guess, self-gain. We've been working with a lot of people in the community, Barzini family, AB, X, Major, Ashley. She actually sat down with me with my first meeting at the Dorchester community, the Dorchester tourism office. She sat with me there for my very first meeting with them. And Yeah, once you start doing things that's not for yourself, like self gain, you're doing it for the people, the culture, the community as a whole. Like when you do things like that, you'll eat from that. You'll be able to you'll be blessed from that for sure. So.
You're like full-time music and music related things. Yes. So that's something that, I think a lot of people, would love, because like, a lot of us are out here just trying to make it any way we can, and people are bartending and serving and, working at Starbucks or whatever they can do to figure it out. Talk about that journey to like becoming full-time music.
The journey has been tumultuous. It's only been, I guess like 4 years that I've done just music related stuff. And the primary reason for that ability is cover gigs. It is. It's my bread and butter. I was very resistant to it. I had a very dare I say, punk rock perspective of not wanting to sell out and thinking it was lame and not wanting to do any wedding band related stuff. I was a hater. And I got one gig in 2018 that started everything. I had never done a cover gig. I had a friend of mine who's a photographer, who was like, this place is looking for someone, you should do it. And I was like, no, I don't do that. And he was like, you should do it. It's paying really well. And I was like, well, I am poor, so maybe I'll try it out. So I did this gig. I had not enough material, so I had to learn tons of songs, and did that one gig for 2 years. That was my main gig. I was still not a full-time musician at that point, but I did that for 2 years. I did it twice a month for 2 years. And that was my primary thing, plus nannying and then booking and curating and all that. And then post shutdown, I was like, I'm only doing that. That's all I'm going to do. So I've just been curating lots of cover gigs. Some artist gigs pay, but it just depends. And that's been it.
All right, there you have it. 5 ways to make money off of your music. And I hope you learned something. I hope that was beneficial. If it was, then go ahead and click that like button. Also subscribe. And if there is somebody in your family, maybe a friend that you think could get something out of that video, go ahead and send it to them. We'd appreciate that. And if you want to check out more with those specific guests, I encourage you to check out the full episodes because they drop tons of gems, tons of knowledge. So definitely listen to the full episodes. All right, catch you next time on They're Good at That Shit.